Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is Jon Graboyes. Hi, Jon.
Hi, Adi. How are you?
Good. It's great to have you on this podcast.
Well,
I am excited about our conversation. So you are an amazing entrepreneur. The things that you did with your business are absolutely worth sharing with our audience in order to inspire them, because it's very inspirational what you have done, where you started, and then what happened with your business. And you happen to also be a client of ours, so we can talk about processes and procedures. But first of all, let me read your bio so people will know who you are. So you are the owner of Graboyes Window Door, a growing home improvement company, and you are located in the Philadelphia area. And it's a growing home improvement company focused on building scalable systems and high-performing teams. You specialize in sales, leadership, operational execution, and creating marketing engines that drive consistent growth. You are passionate about leadership and building an organization that creates long-term value for both customers and employees. So for you, it's really you're very driven. You are a driven entrepreneur that wants to always improve, always get better. I mean, you and I met at Accelerate Live at the Wealthy Contractors. So a big shout out to Brian and Adi Kaskavalchin. I've been involved with that organization for several years. And so are you. So you always, and you were also sent your team, and you are involved now with CCN as well. So you always want to know more, improve, and always looking for ways to how to make the business better. Isn't that the case?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, and I just want to say you have built an incredible library of conversations with this podcast. It's really remarkable, the quality of the guests that you've had on and the range of topics. I'm really enjoying going through them myself. So
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I love the guests. I love the conversations. It's the podcast started as a way of connecting with people during the pandemic. I started the podcast in 2021, and I love it so much because I get, as you said, it's really getting with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and I learn something new in every episode, and it's great. So thank you for noticing that. So Jon, let's talk about your journey. So you were not always in the business, although it was a family business, right?
yeah. So there's my story and the company story.
Let's do it in parallel. So your
Yeah,
story, and then we can start with
yeah,
the company story because it starts earlier, and then let's talk about your story and how those two
exactly.
converged. Yes.
Exactly. And they've intersected over the years before now. And so Graboyes Window Door was founded in 1949 by my grandfather, Joe Graboyes. So we're now a 77-year-old company. My grandfather ran the business for about 35 years, and then my father ran it for another 35 years. And it's always been just a true family business, blue collar, hardworking to our core. We built a strong reputation doing good, honest, quality work for our customers and the community, but really just a mom and pop business, not overly sophisticated, just doing hard work, having a figure things out type attitude. And it was really powered by the effort and the instincts of my father and his problem solving ability. And, in terms of process, which we're here to talk about, a lot of paper, and everyone just followed his lead. And so growing up, I was always encouraged to go do something else, to not join the family business. My parents always told me, this is a tough life, John. Go do something better, which makes sense. I mean, like any parent, you want something better for your children. So I spent over a decade of my early career working in the nonprofit world, first in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, doing neighborhood development work for a community development corporation. And then I was in New York City doing affordable housing development for a large scale affordable housing project management type work. And when I finally came into this business in 2018, 2019, I walked into really a time capsule of a company in terms of systems and process. And the business hadn't changed a whole lot over the 10 years or so before I arrived. And there's a variety of reasons why that was the case. And there was no succession plan or a build to sell plan. And the systems were just not intended to scale into and to serve a growing organization. So that's a
Yeah.
bit of
So
the context.
no, it's a great story. But what made you decide to come and work for the company, for the family company?
I saw a great opportunity to build my next chapter of my life in the business. Um, and 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 I saw that the business had a lot of opportunity to grow and to scale. And I was excited to have that type of ownership of an organization and to apply my vision to it ultimately. But it was a bit of a leap of faith. It was a very new space for me. I had never had any customers before in my career, and there was a lot to learn. And I had to come at it with an attitude of learning and cutting the curve of my education in the business as quickly as possible, to adopt best practices. And so that's been my approach throughout, is to go out, find experts, learn as quickly as I can, bring that information back into the company to implement and execute.
Yeah. So let's look at the before and after. So when you walked into the business, what was it like and what is it now?
Sure. Well, at the time, I mean, the sales process, again, it was all paper contracts, the three color, white, yellow, and pink, and you had to press really hard so your handwriting would go through, and the handwriting would have to get translated over to the work order, and so we liked the salespeople who had good handwriting. Um, all the ordering work with our manufacturers, it was all done on a fax machine, the confirmations back and forth to order the windows and the doors. And there was no company email system, just Gmail and Yahoo accounts that people set up for themselves to do business. And my dad and his AOL account, which he still uses. Um, and the phone lines, just two or three shared phone lines that everyone had to answer. And we did have a CRM, but it was very underutilized, very underdeveloped. The reporting capabilities had not even been explored yet. We had some digital marketing, but we weren't far from placing yellow page ads when I got here. So really, it was a small group of people working hard, holding things together. Every day was just show up, do your work, no regular meetings, no planning, no forecasting, and it worked. And it's
Well,
not
obviously, because you've been in business, but was that change hard on your dad?
absolutely, and it took some time coming in because, as I said, everything was built on his shoulders. And
Right.
so it did take time in the business for the ideas that I was finding in my industry groups that I was learning about, attending events, for those ideas to become something we could talk about and begin to implement. It took time.
I
But
bet.
to his credit, there was a very clear turning point where he fully embraced the new growth that the company had to lean into. And to his credit, once we passed that moment, he's been completely supportive. He doesn't necessarily need to understand it or learn it. He always says that. He's like, I don't need to know, I don't need to learn it.
Yeah.
but he gave us the full permission to take the business in the direction it needed to go.
That's great. And the truth is that it shows him also that there is a legacy, that there is a continuation, because obviously you need to progress with the newest technology, the way that the business operate now as opposed to then, but it gives that continuity that the business will continue to expand and grow, and you will be celebrating your 100-year anniversary
Someday, yeah, it's
23
coming.
years from
It's
now.
coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just started working my way systematically through every department in the company, looking at the systems, the processes, how work actually got done. And the goal wasn't so much just to modernize, which needed to happen desperately, but it was to build a real operating system for the business, to have a platform to take off from. And at my core, I'm a builder, and that's been the constant across everything that I've done. Early in my career, I was building community projects in the nonprofit world, doing neighborhood redevelopment in New Orleans and the affordable housing projects in New York, and today it's about building a business. And so we're building systems, we're building people, we're building leaders, we're building partnerships, and ultimately building trust with our customers. And that's really how I see and think about the evolution of the company at this point.
Yeah, and I can see that. Just working with you for the last several months, I can totally see that. But
Mm.
one thing you mentioned people, but I think it's worth mentioning that one of the key differentiators between your company and others is the culture that you created. I mean, you have
Hmm.
wonderful people working for you, and I know you know that, and you're not taking it necessarily for granted, but you have wonderful people working for you that are dedicated, that have that ownership mentality. So you definitely created that leadership team and an environment that is great to work in. How did you do that? What are some of the key elements or some of the actions that you did in order to create that?
Yeah. Well, we have to stay true to who we are. And so again, when I came into the business, it wasn't about tearing something down. It was about taking that thing that already had value, that reputation, that trust, that we built over generations, and taking that thing and making it better. And so as we went to work at that, and we built systems and process and a way of doing things better that ultimately brought about better results for the people working here and for our customers, we earned the right to bring in great people. There's been a lot of turnover here over the last couple of years, and it's been really a great joy for me to attract and bring in the type of people to be partners with me in growing this company. And it's been a great experience, and we've been very fortunate. And we do have a very strong leadership team here now, and that is the evolution that the business has gone through. To go from a day to day that's very chaotic and just get through the day and survive to having individuals that own their departments, that earn their results and the outcomes that they're responsible for, and to take ownership of their individual departments and growing the business themselves.
Absolutely. So, John, if we have somebody listening to us right now and they go, I want to go work with John, I mean, are you hiring?
We're always hiring. Yeah, the more leads we can generate. I mean, it's all about marketing. When your marketing machine is dialed in and you're able to generate appointments, that's what feeds this business. And so that's what I spend a lot of my time trying to problem solve, is how to get just more opportunities for our company and for ultimately our salespeople, because we've gotten very sophisticated to the point now where we really understand all the key conversion metrics that go into our business being successful. That if we're able to generate this many opportunities, well, we'll set this many appointments and issue this many appointments. And of those that we we issue will demo a certain percentage and this many will sell at this average ticket. And so when the whole process works in this predictable way, that's what generates more incremental gross profit to reinvest into the marketing, to do it all again so that we can continue to grow. And that's what it lets us bring on new people here.
That's great. Okay, so if somebody who's listening to us right now want to contact you to either get inspired, ask you questions, because I know you always love to talk to other entrepreneurs as well and share your knowledge. But if they want to ask you, how can I come work for you, or I want to do this or that, or have a question, how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can email me. That's John at graboyeswindows.com. I'll even give out my cell phone number if they want to give me a call. That's 610-812-1942. And I'd certainly love to hear from them. I mean, we've done a lot of work, especially in our work with EOS, to clarify our identity as a company, to build out our core values, to get really clear on those things, and what our goals are for 1 year, 3 year, 10 years, our moonshot, where we're really trying to take the company. And so, we've built a company on core values, and the three that really stand out are, people that want to seek constant improvement, people that want to be part of a great family, so being a great family member. And then our fun one is good vibes, people who just have good energy and expect good things to happen in the world. Those are the types of people we're looking to attract here.
Absolutely. And I can be a witness that that's definitely the people that we encounter, we work with. That's exactly what it is. And that is a great contributor to success, because when you have that, then as a team, you can create what you want to create when you have the systems and the processes. So let's talk about a little bit right now about processes. So we are working now on creating your processes and procedures and putting them all together. What inspired you to start documenting your processes?
Yeah. Well, I've always held the belief that a company is only as strong as its processes. Having clear systems, having documented processes, repeatable workflows. I mean, a company that has strong process trains better, onboards better, has less dependency on any individual, and ultimately it makes for a more valuable and scalable business. So that's my philosophy about why process is important. And you and I had met at an event probably a year or so before we started working, and I was always curious about working with your organization. And ultimately, we decided to move forward at a time where one of our key people was really struggling with running their department, and they had a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt about their ability to kind of see their way out of what was happening in our service department and customers that needed us to make good on our service work. And it was just very clear that even though I was offering to onboard people to come in and assist with their work, even that was overwhelming to them. That if I run this entire department myself, how am I even going to train somebody how to do what I do? And so ultimately, we called you and we started working with Douglas on your team at the same time that we onboarded a new associate to work with this manager. And ultimately, what we did was we killed two birds with one stone. We started meeting with Douglas regularly, documenting the process that needed to get out of this individual's head that was so crucial and so important. And in the process of doing that work, we were able to successfully orient and train the new hire to the process within that department. And so it was incredibly successful. Both of them are thriving now in their roles, and they have process that they go back to and refer as needed. And that was the starting point. And we've worked through almost every department in our company with you and your team today. And I think the results speak for themselves.
Good. So tell me more about the results.
Well, process to me it has to be kind of a living and breathing system. When you grow a business, you build stuff, you run with it for a while, and then inevitably you have to break it all up and redo it again. And I see people that are hundreds of millions of dollars ahead of me in growing their business, and they're going through the same thing. The scale is bigger and different, but it's the same process. And so what I think is so important is having a way to capture process that is dynamic, that is evolving, that is not just the metaphorical binder in a drawer. It's something you come back to. And so we've made that a requirement of our managers that every quarter when we do our quarterly planning and look back at the quarter that passed, what are the key things that have changed in our process that require updating in the documents that we've worked on so that it never goes stale. It always stays dynamic, is always evolving and supporting our team as the business moves forward.
I think that's beautiful. So, Jon, if you look back before you had processes and now that you have processes, how, if you had to explain it to another business owner, like what processes, what impact having processes actually created on your business, in your business, on your business?
Well, as an owner, it gives me peace of mind that it exists and that the business has these processes to fall back on. Because I'm at the point still, even though we're growing, we don't fully have backups for every department leader in our business. And so for me as a business owner, it gave me peace of mind to know that this architecture is in place. Should someone decide to move on, should someone be unable to come in and continue in their role, that now that we're the type of business that can attract talented, capable individuals into these roles, that having accessible, digital, clear process to provide such a person as they get started in our company, it gives me tremendous peace of mind that we'll continue to maintain, the continuity of our service and operations here, really no matter what. And on the day to day, the people that are working here, they rely on it as they come across situations that they don't know how to handle. It's a great training tool as managers simply can, tell people working in our call center, well, did you check the process? And so it starts to break some of the reliance on managers needing to field every little question from the people that are working in their department, and ultimately gives them more ownership of what we do here.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I see also, that people can have, it empowers people, right? It empowers them to do what they need to be doing correctly and doing it. And then it gives you the peace of mind, just like you said. What about consistency? Do you see more consistency in the results?
Absolutely. I mean, the process is the process. There's not a whole lot of interpretation that needs to be done the daily basis of what we do here. And so the results are showing more consistency. We track KPI and metrics across many different departments, but we look at these dashboards, we look at how many days it takes to move through stages of process that is involved in our production. And it's all been trending, from yellow to green. If it was red, it's yellow. I mean, it's all going in the right direction. And so the tracking is very important too, having eyes on the numbers, on what good really looks like. Um,
Yeah,
it certainly helps keeps the business delivering consistently.
that's beautiful. That's great. Good. Okay. Well, we have entrepreneurs that are listening to us right now. And what would you say, one thing that you would like to share with them to inspire them to continue going on and continue to scale their business?
I mean, business, it's a constant effort. It's very rewarding. It's almost like tending to a garden. You have to do some pruning. You have to look at what's working, what's growing, what's not. You have to plan for what's going to come up next year, and nothing happens overnight. But if you keep tending to it, if you keep feeding it and taking care of it, you're able to build something really fantastic. And over the years, it's been a joy of mine to see the growth here, to see how far we've come, to see how far so many of the leaders here have come, and knowing we're just getting started.
That's incredible. Well, I no doubt that you are going to scale and take the business to a complete new level, which we're at that point, we'll probably do another podcast to show the before and after from that. So thank you, Jon, for being a guest on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Adi.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.